discuss real issues.
I told them, yes, I made a mistake. I tried to persevere for you guys, but at the same time, we have to move out.
How do you deal with cases whereby the victim decides to forgive the perpetrators?
When somebody talks to you or you see something like that you also encourage them to report, you encourage them to talk about it.
This being an election year, we have given an opportunity to women to express themselves and share their opinions during this crucial time in our country's history.
Particularly for the women, my prayer is that we shall get more women governors, senators and members of parliament elected to parliament.
Ule atachaguliwa kama ni mwanamke, hopefully mimi ningependa kuwa mwanamke. Kama ni mwanaume ama mwanamke, angalia zile issues zenye zina affect wasichana, especially huku chini mashinani.
Starting this Sunday, be sure to tune in.
Good afternoon. This is Lunchtime News. I trust you're having a lovely Sunday so far. My name is Jackie Wambiru. Our sign language interpreter is Anne Wangeshi. Well, we have a comprehensive bulletin lined up this afternoon. And to kick us off, let's take a look at matters agriculture. Farmers in the country have been assured of adequate fertilizer during this planting season and the next one. Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya says there is enough stock of subsidized fertilizer in all national cereals and produce board silos, and farmers should take advantage of the incentive to purchase the commodity.
Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya has defended the capping of the number of bags of fertilizer accessible to farmers. Munya says the 20 bags is an increase from the previous 5 and will go a long way in boosting farming.
Hiyo serikali imetoa 5.7 billion kurangaramia hiyo fertilizer. Na iko kwa store za serikali. Musu atikuambia enda kwa duka hapa ugenda ukute ya bei ni juu. Useme Munya amesema uongo. Hapana. Iko kwa NCPB. Shikaneni 3 4 mteremuke huko. Kama huko kwa lisi county commissioner kazi yako ndio kuandika hawa, kuregister hawa.
Munya also noted that with 2.5 billion shillings budgetary allocation, the government is keen on ensuring stability in the agricultural sector.
Hii mpango ya serikali si ya kusaidia yule aiko na eka 1000 Taita Taveta ama kwingine. Hii ni ya kusaidia wakulima hao wa kawaida. Kwani hapa Embu mko na eka ngapi pa farma? Kamoja, kambili, 3 kuota. Sasa kama unless mtu anatafuta fertilizer ya kuenda kuuza, Saindi ya 20 utapeleka wapi?
Munya hit out at politicians who are using the fertilizer issue as fodder for political campaign, saying the government was keen on ensuring stability in the sector.
Jitoe serikalini. Tupigie huyu kura ndio mambo ya majani chai tuwe tunaenda bila aibu kumwambia tusaidie hapa. Lakini akishinda na sisi hatuko, itakuwa ngumu kuongea na yeye.
The Cabinet Secretary was speaking at a meeting with the tea farmers from Kathangariri Tea Factory in Embu. For Lunchtime News, I'm Zainab Said.
And now we cross over to Westlands, whereby the Communications Authority of Kenya is addressing members of the Fourth Estate to clarify a number of issues raised by the public in regard to the ongoing SIM card registration. Communications Authority of Kenya Director Ezra Chiloba is currently speaking. Let's listen in.
About 300,000 issue coming up is through a proposal on child online protection. And I would invite Mercy maybe to shed some more light in that regard.
Thank you very much. I think that question was tied to whether this exercise is mandatory. And indeed, it is mandatory. It's a statutory requirement. The issue of SIM card registration is an integral part of the terms and conditions of a license. Now, when it comes to the case of minors, the reason for requiring a check and verification on this is because when a SIM card is registered for a minor, it is subject to certain higher cautionary outlook than would be available for an adult. So it therefore becomes incumbent for any parent or guardian to actually want to verify whether the minors in their custody have numbers that are appropriately registered. And one of the requirements by the law is the production of a birth certificate. This would then mean that if a number belonging to a minor does not have a birth certificate registered, it needs to be regularized for the sake and the security of the child who continues to use that device. This is very much a consumer protection issue and something that we should take very seriously, and an opportunity to take corrective action at this point in time, or otherwise then face the penalty that has been spelled out under the law. There was also the question on what triggered this exercise. This exercise was triggered out of the need to generate quality assurance, because the regulator does receive returns from the operators. The regulator also carries out exercises on its own motion to collect regulatory intelligence from the market. So around March 2021, there was quite a flurry of reports, and even in the press, on SIM cards that were lost or were found in sacks and bags and the like. And obviously then that sparked the curiosity to verify what is in the market. And an exercise was carried by the regulator of its own motion, which is within the powers of the regulator to do. And it was an extensive exercise covering 20 counties. And it actually verified some of the concerns and the vulnerabilities that have been spelled out in the discussions that have happened before. And it cut across the entire sector. Therefore, meaning that if we are to continue to assure consumers of the rights that they enjoy, then it was important to rise up and exercise a responsible act, and also seek this kind of validation exercise so that we are able to indeed verify that what we are communicating is indeed what we have on the ground. Thank you.
Thank you, Mercy, for that clarification. Matano.
And now we cross over to Kilimani, where following the move by Democratic Party of Kenya presidential candidate Justin Muturi joining the Kenya Kwanza coalition, more than 10 party branches from the counties have opposed the move, with a protest note already lodged with the registrar of political parties. Now, our media briefing is currently underway in Kilimani. Let's cross over and listen in.
And if you feel any of us can earn, we shall be willing to do that. Welcome.
Thanks a lot, Bwana Organizing Secretary. I'll go straight to the statement, and then we can ask the questions later. My name is Wambiru Nyamu. I'm the National Deputy Secretary General in charge of operations. And this is the statement. Members of the press, we have called you here today to set the record straight regarding what transpired yesterday, which is one of the most unfortunate and disturbing events ever witnessed in the history of our beloved party. In 31 years of its existence, the Democratic Party has stood for integrity and has never been associated with any corrupt activities. What happened yesterday was a blatant act of corruption in which a few individuals illegally mortgaged the parties to an outside coalition. At the party National Delegates Convention held at the Bomas of Kenya on the 20th of February this year, the Democratic Party resolved not to join any coalition before the general election and instead engage like-minded political players after election with a view of forming the post-election coalition. It is important for Kenyans to note that the party NDC has not met since then, that is February 20th, to vary or otherwise alter the resolutions it made on that day of the 20th of February. That same are still binding and can only be vacated by the NDC at a meeting held in accordance with the party constitution. It is therefore shocking that 4 officials operating under the cloak of secrecy so as to conceal the illegal acts can purport to make decisions for the NDC, which is the highest decision-making organ of the party. What happened in Karen yesterday was a fraudulent usurpation of the authority of the National Delegates Congress and other organs legally mandated to make decisions on behalf of the party. Such weighted decisions can only be made by at least 250 members at an NDC and not 4 individuals. The climax of this well-orchestrated and callous display of unbridled impunity and arrogance is in utter disregard, violation, and subversion of party resolutions in broad daylight as happened yesterday.
Well, that was the Democratic Party of Kenya addressing members of the fourth state. We shall be bringing you more details in our subsequent bulletins. For now, we move on. The Catholic Church is investing in upgrading infrastructure in its sponsored educational facilities to ensure a successful shift from 844 system to the competence-based curriculum. Catholic Diocese of Nakuru Education Secretary Father Christopher Kamau says the church has embarked on mobilizing funds and sourcing donors towards the construction of additional classrooms ahead of the transition of learners from primary to junior secondary school.
As the country's education sector continues to shift gears from the 844 to the new competency-based curriculum, the Catholic Church is seeking partnerships and investing in its sponsored education facilities to ensure a smooth transition. Speaking during a career mentorship and guidance program at the Mary Girls Primary Boarding School, Catholic Diocese of Nakuru Education Secretary Father Christopher Kamau said plans are at an advanced stage to expand facilities and complement the government efforts.
We are also embracing the new curriculum, the KBC, by investing on the infrastructures and other facilities that are required in line with especially the new registration.
Father Christopher adding that if investments by institutions towards procurement and upgrade of facilities are properly done, they will cut costs and make the transition from 844 to KBC seamless and effective.
We try to get donors to put up especially the required classes and the labs and other facilities.
According to the Man of Cloth, the funding they receive through partnerships in the public and private sectors will be channeled towards acquisition of new land, procurement of vehicles and digitization of classrooms. In 2023, KBC pioneer learners are expected to advance to junior secondary school for 3 years after sitting their grade 6 national examinations later this year. Isafar reporting for Lunchtime News.
And on matters environment, Tourism Principal Secretary Zainab Hussain has led students, environmental activists and government officials in planting 300 trees at the iconic Mamangina waterfront in Mombasa County. Hussain said her ministry will continue to put in more efforts to increase forest cover in Mombasa with a view of making it more eco-friendly to domestic and international visitors.
Tourism Principal Secretary Zainab Hussain has underscored the role played by non-state actors in war against climate change in the country.
Kupanda miti kusiishe hapa leo, ukirudi nyumbani endelea kupanda miti. Na niwahimiza pia FAO na Environment Trust Kenya na Mamangina Waterfront. Sioni kama tutamaliza kupanda miti hapa leo. Kwa hivyo nataka hii iwe ni jukumu ambao kila mwezi, na tukianza mfumo wa mvua, tuendelee kupanda miti hapa.
Hussein says their input has boosted Kenya's commitment to expand her forest cover.
Andrew Soya ametuambia kuna miti milioni 16 hapa Coast Region. Kazi iko ya kuweza kufanya county ya Mombasa na hizi county zingine za hapa pwani ziwe green.
The Food and Agriculture Organization, the Aga Khan Foundation and the Environment Trust of Kenya and the Kenya Forest Service have partnered to plant indigenous and scented trees at the Mama Ngina waterfront. Meanwhile, the government is urging communities living in semi-arid areas to embrace cultivation of drought-resistant crops.
The National Treasury and Planning, in collaboration with Council of Governors and other stakeholders, is reviewing guidelines for the preparation of CIDPs. These guidelines will be shared with county governments to facilitate preparation of county policies, programs and projects for the next 5 years.
Tumaini yetu ya kwamba in the fourth medium term plan, hiyo mpango itafanya miogo cassava iwe ni mimea ambayo tunaweza kupata katika kila boma, na tusiwe wakati tunakuwa na ukame tunakuwa na baa ya njaa katika manyumba zetu.
The State Department for Planning commenced the formulation of the fourth medium-term plan in Kilifi County, with most of the developmental projects implementations aimed at curbing drought in the county. For Lunchtime News, I'm Zainab Said.
Well, that report by Zainab Said brings us to fast break here on Lunchtime News. Don't go too far. We still have more news coming up.
Do you have a news story to share with KBC? Get in touch swiftly on email news@kbc.co.ke or call 0723 892 654 or 0734 780 124.
Starting this Sunday, the Dadas Show is back. A show where women get to be themselves and discuss real issues.
I told them, yes, I made a mistake. I tried to persevere for you guys, but at the same time, we have to move out.
How do you deal with cases whereby the victim decides to forgive the perpetrators?
When somebody talks to you or you see something like that you also encourage them to report, you encourage them to talk about it.
This being an election year, we have given an opportunity to women to express themselves and share their opinions during this crucial time in our country's history.
Particularly for the women, my prayer is that we shall get more women governors, senators and members of parliament elected to parliament.
Ule atachaguliwa kama ni mwanamke, hopefully mimi ningependa kuwe mwanamke. Kama ni mwanaume ama mwanamke, angalia zile issues zenye zina affect wasichana, especially huku chini mashinani.
Starting this Sunday, be sure to tune in.
The legendary run to Olympia Stadion in Berlin is now less crowded, with only 4 teams out of 64 still in contention. Something more outstanding is that all of the sides to have won the DFB Pokal over the last 29 years are already out this year.
And Leverkusen are knocked out by a Bundesliga 2 side.
In the first DFB Pokal semi-final, Hamburger SV will face Freiburg on Tuesday, the 19th of April 2022 at 9:45 p.m. While in the second semi-final, RB Leipzig will lock horns with Union Berlin on Wednesday, the 20th April 2022 at 9:45 p.m. Having braced the turbulent journey and buoyed up with the trophy in sight, no team want to go down without a fight. You don't want to miss this adventurous football show, live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1. KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Welcome back. Now let's proceed. Messages of peace and unity dominated this year's Palm Sunday celebrations as religious leaders called upon politicians to be careful with their utterances ahead of the 2022 general election. The clergy is also urging Kenyans to shun politicians who spread hate during their campaigns. Purity Museo has more details.
Palm Sunday, and Kenyans joined Christian faithful the world over in marking the day. Theologians say Jesus Christ, on whom the Christian faith is based, made a celebrated entry into Jerusalem over 2,000 years ago as a Prince of Peace. At St. Anne Catholic Church in Muthure, Kiambu County, Father Paul Muiga led the procession that culminated in Mass.
We should all remember that the donkey that carried Christ was a very ordinary donkey. Listen to me, church. If you want to become special, if you want to become respected, who are more than you?
While at St. Mary's Ngure ACK Church, still in Kiambu, Bishop Charles Muturi also preached the message of peace during the electioneering period.
Wakati huu ambapo tunaelekea uchaguzi, tunaitwa ili kuwa mfano mwema kama wa Kristo, ili kama Kristo alivyokubatia unyenyekevu katika maisha yake, pia sisi katika mambo yote ambayo tunafanya, tusifanye mambo ili kuleta migawano katika wakati huu wa uchaguzi, bali tuweze kushirikiana vema, tuweze kuhubiri amani, na ili tuwe na uchaguzi ambao utaleta maendeleo katika nchi yetu.
Palm Sunday is observed by various denominations of the Christian faith, including Catholics, Anglicans and Methodists, and signifies the beginning of Holy Week, which leads to the Easter weekend. Purity Museo, Lunchtime News.
And in the political arena, the Orange Democratic Movement National Elections Board conducting primaries for the position of ward representatives in Mombasa County has cancelled the elections in 3 wards in Kisauni and Nyali constituencies following evidence of election malpractice. Violence marred the election in Kongowea and Mtopanga wards, while alleged infiltration of UDA supporters in Magugoni ward caused the cancellation.
ODM voters in Mtopanga ward, Kisauni constituency, had blocked the party's National Election Board officials from conducting primaries on allegations of malpractice. Consequently, the exercise was cancelled.
Mtopanga, there was violence. There was a lot of violence, and so the election in Mtopanga was cancelled.
With the same fate befalling Kongowea ward in Nyali constituency. In Magongoni ward, violence marred the primaries, leading to nullification.
Magongoni, there was violence and evidence infiltration of UDA coming to interfere with the elections. Magongoni elections have been referred back to NEB.
On Monday, the party is expected to issue certificates to 26 candidates. Elsewhere, ODM Embakasi ward aspirant Alan Oremo has launched his bid to vie for the member of county assembly seat. Party supporters present urged Azimio la Umoja leadership to ensure in-house wrangles are averted.
The ODM party is using consensus, direct ticket, opinion poll, and the finally universal suffrage. On the opinion poll, I'm the most popular candidate in Embakasi. And therefore, I qualify for the direct ticket in Embakasi unopposed.
Lakini wakati huu, hebu tubadilishe, tusipige kura kwa sababu ya tumbo. Tumbo ishibe, lakini kura iende mahali iko sawa.
And a section of investors and business community in Taita Sub-County in Taita Taveta County is cautioning politicians against inciting residents and politicizing long-disputed land matters. The group, led by former area member of parliament Basil Kritikos, says the move might cause panic, especially during this electioneering season.
Tuwe wa kweli, nilitoa ekali 2,000 sehemu ya AFC kwa maskota mwaka la 2017. Namuuliza governor Samboja, amekuwa wapi wakati huu yote, ama ni mbinu ya kutafuta kura?
I do not want land to be used as a political tool. The county government must make a decision on whether the lease should be increased, some more years should be given to the leaseholder, or disagree.
Yeye kwanza aje atutolee shukurani, alitumia shamba kwa hiyo miaka yote, lease ikaisha, hiyo lease shamba ni ya watu wanaishi hapo.
And Jubilee Party supporters in Laikipia County, led by Deputy Governor John Mwaniki, are in a race to revive the party's popularity in the region ahead of the general elections.
We are here today, all of us aspirants, from the ward level to parliament, parliamentary seats, to governor. We are all in Jubilee. Those who are doubting that Jubilee is not active in Laikipia, wait and see. This is just getting started. We will sweep all the seats.
Wale wanaweza kudhania kwamba ofisi ya chama iko Nairobi. La, ofisi ya chama iko mahali kuna wafuasi wake. Na Kithiga Ward, Kinamba Town, hapa tuko na ofisi kwa sababu wafuasi wa chama cha Jubilee ndio wengi.
Kamchemenza for Lunchtime News.
And on news making headlines in the sports world, national boxing team hit squad finished second overall as the curtains came down on Africa's Zone 3 Boxing Championship in the Democratic Republic of Congo. The Benjamin Musa Chargers bagged 17 medals, 6 gold, 5 silver and 6 bronze. Stylish featherweight Samuel Njau, bantamweight Shafiq Bakari, light heavy Elizabeth Andiego and welterweight Evelyn Akinyi won gold medals, while Stacey Ayoma and Loma Kusa bagged silver medals on the final day of the regional showpiece. Flyweight David Karanja and light welter Teresia Wambiru also bagged gold for Kenya, while Elizabeth Akinyi and light welter Victor Othiambo walked away with silver medals. Defending super heavyweight champion Eli Adjouri and Boniface Mugunde scooped bronze medals. Manchester City and Liverpool will meet at Etihad Stadium in a big Premier League encounter that could decide the destination of the title this season. Meanwhile, Son Heung-min hat-trick kept Tottenham's Premier League top 4 destiny in their own hands as Spurs produced a masterclass to thrash Aston Villa 4-0. Well, that brings us to the end of our bulletin this afternoon. Thank you for choosing Lunchtime News. For more news, check out our website at kbc.co.ke. Our sign language interpreter is Anwangeshi, and my name is Wambiru. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.